derailed the episode. On-air sounds in there good?
I guess so.
You ever get anything stolen from you?
Yeah, I got a bike stolen from me one time.
Oof.
And my brother actually saw somebody riding it down the road and get it back for me.
Nice. That's a hero.
Yeah.
That's what big brothers are for.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
Super weird trying to think back on that because it was when it was my first bike, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Training wheels on it?
No, they came off fast. I was trying to teach all the kids actually in the neighborhood how to ride a bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And this one guy, he was like extra chicken about riding a bike. Most trepidatious guy.
Where did you get into like the BMX bikes? Those were huge back in the day.
No.
Like with the rails, or what did you call them? The pegs?
Yeah. I didn't really see a lot of them until high school.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta love your youth.
Guess so. It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Like to keep it short in the summer.
Yeah. So what brings us here today?
Just
Are we
reminisce.
are we in present time, 2023 right now?
Yeah.
Or is this 2022?
Actually, great to ask. It's actually 2020.
Shit.
Did I fuck you over with that?
No, not at all.
Oh.
Because now that I'm actually thinking about it, in actuality, we're in their time.
Yeah. Or not even.
We're on Santos clock.
But it actually came out on Oxygen under the Lost Girls of Sarah Lawrence.
Santos can't get no love?
Santos can't get no love.
Lost Girls.
He can't get love in a sex cult.
You know what's crazy about that? So when you... and I don't want to jump right to the end.
Yeah.
But what that made me think of is how the third episode seems like it almost could break off into a reality show.
A little bit, yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, so we'll get to that later.
People are moving around and
it's just it's strange. That's the first thing I thought of when episode 3 had such a different feel than episode 1 and 2. But
sure did.
I thought,
I was excited.
There has been so many great documentaries that have been coming out in the past couple of years. We've already talked about this. But this one definitely holds up. Not only is it like, I was like, okay, there's 3 episodes. I don't know when I'm going to get around to this. But basically when I watched the first episode, I was like, okay, got to watch, I'll at least watch half of number 2. And then, that night or the next day, I'd be finishing number 2. And then I got to get to number 3. Like, it's gripping.
Yeah.
And it's well done. Like, what I like about documentaries is that, there's so many things in a film that you can get lost in. Like, not just story, but, numerous things. But I find that, with a film, you try to hide the editing.
Yeah.
Where in a documentary, you really try to accentuate the editing.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the cool things that they did, like they had animation at some points. I really liked the maps.
Yeah.
Even like the intro was pretty cool. The burning of the graduation hats.
Now that you mention it, There was a point where, was it a cell phone or a dictaphone that just like melts into nothing?
Yeah.
But it had a great way of immersing you into a story where, you know, a lot of it is hearsay, and so much of this could have just disappeared. And especially with all the dictaphone recordings and things like that that come along down the road.
Yeah. And, you know, even how they had all the old photos.
Yeah.
Which really tripped me up because it reminded me of that missing persons, like, that I worked on. The trailer for a documentary.
Right.
Where that's what it was, going to this guy's family and them bringing up a bunch of pictures of him and stuff like that. So I really got that vibe off it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's those personal connections that can really help you grip onto something for a filmmaker, you know, seeing it from both sides when it comes to doing a documentary.
With the drawings of the maps, you have an idea of the layouts of everything, where everything is happening. And it takes place on such a small stage that it does make you feel locked into this environment.
Yeah.
Cult at Sarah Lawrence.
The Cult at Sarah Lawrence. Stolen Youth.
Yeah. Unreal, right?
I kept looking up St. Lawrence and couldn't find nothing.
Yeah, I looked up St. Lawrence as well.
I think you told me St. Lawrence.
Yeah, and people haven't seen this thing. I've been trying to tell everybody about it. I mean, it's on Disney Plus. It's not like I'm breaking crazy new ground.
There's something I wanted to say about the editing, but hopefully I'll just find it later on.
Oh, cut it in, guy.
Yeah, cut it in.
Look for our Walter merch. Cut it in, guy.
So, yeah. It starts out very what you'd imagine, you know, a documentary style version of American Pie, or like, you know, maybe that's a bad example, but like coming of age, very, you know, optimistic, gonna grab life by the balls.
Yeah.
You know, maybe an outcast in high school, but now you're finding friends in college, and life is, you know,
starting to look up.
Fresh. Yeah.
Not for everyone, but for most of the people.
For these characters.
Yeah.
All
characters. Characters in this documentary.
Some characters.
The stars.
Yeah, the stars.
The stars are being born here.
The cults. The cultists.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah.
And already they got like a house of 6 or like 7 or something like that.
Yeah, but it's, you know, they got plenty of space, some common rooms, right? Yeah. Santos,
yeah.
Talia
Ray.
Yeah.
Big player. Izzy. Claudia. Raven was just kind of drifting. Like, she was a coach. She's on the couch. And sadly, I don't remember the other guys, like Ben, and there was a couple people Dan, yeah. There was 2 of them. I think a Ben and a Dan, maybe.
And then there was like the concerned friend guy.
Was one of them. Oh, no, yeah, Ben.
Was that Ben?
I think that was his name, because Dan is the taller guy.
Hence be known as Ben.
Yeah.
No, there can't be a Ben and a Dan.
Yeah.
In this crazy crew.
That was their first conversation. Yeah, hey, I'm Dan. I'm Ben.
You know him.
Yeah.
You know O'Brien.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Raven, was she the skeptical one?
Yeah.
Turned out to be a little skeptical.
Which is funny because, yeah, she's the first person that they kind of let stay on their couch. So already people could say, you know, maybe that's why she's throwing a riff. And she doesn't like, you know, now she got to sleep on the couch. Now she got to sleep on the chair.
Yeah, that would suck. Vindictive. She is vindictive. It's the way I feel about all these characters. You wouldn't believe the stuff they do to this guy.
Talia's father.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about Santos. Just set the scene a little bit. Millhouse.
Oh yeah,
He's a bit Milhouse, right?
that's true.
No offense to Milhouse, but Santos is like Milhouse.
Okay. Who's Dan like?
I don't know. He doesn't strike me as anyone as much as a Milhouse. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, this week's Milhouse Award goes to Adams awarding Santos.
I mean,
the
I feel
Milhouse.
like I'm calling Snow yellow here. Like, everybody must see Milhouse when they watch this. And just feel like that's what Milhouse grew up to be.
Yeah, well, you make me feel bad for Milhouse now. I will never laugh at Simpsons the same when he gets picked on.
For all I know, Simpsons already did this. Stolen Youth.
Yeah. What do you think about Lawrence Ray, Talia's father? Fresh out of jail. No one takes that as a red flag.
Yeah. Sleeping on their couch.
Yeah.
The couch in this like dormitory off campus, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they got the run of this whole complex, which feels like a real sweet setup. And this guy.
How would you take this guy? Okay.
So he talks like the bubble boy.
No, but you get out of jail.
For free?
But all of a sudden you're like going to the grocery store and buying the whole fucking place up? Anything that the kids want?
Yeah. Yeah, anything. Especially with Izzy. That's one of the kids.
Yeah.
She said it like it was everyone, but she was getting preferential treatment.
Yeah. So he's playing the crowd up.
Yeah. A little bit of a sniffing accountant, right?
Yeah.
They can't tell if he's a good or a bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. He's making up food for them, doing all kinds of little niceties, keeping it nice and clean, isn't he?
Yeah. And Izzy is the one that he befriends first.
Yeah.
Spend a little extra time with her.
Yeah.
Actually spent a full night with her in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Talking.
2 nights, I think.
Like a full 48?
Yeah. And they say right off the hop that this guy's like Marine or something. But in the like hypnosis department, basically.
Well, there's a picture of him. Yeah, he was part of the...
Holding hands with Jesus. Yeah, I get the pictures of this guy.
He was part of the non-fat free yogurt scandal with Giuliani.
There was, yeah. Holy, that's a great pull, you know. Gotta love a good 90s Giuliani.
Yeah. Great guy. Cholesterol's high.
Cleaned up New York. Now he might be more hated than Lawrence Ray.
Oh my god, yeah, he took a turn.
Yeah.
That yogurt would do it to you.
Well,
damn that Lloyd Braun.
Went straight to his head. Yeah. Serenity Now.
And
sign up for the Serenity Now self-wellness course.
But Lawrence Ray definitely got into the head of Izzy.
Yeah.
And she was always kind of an outcast within this group, but seemed to take a turn for the better.
That she had stuff happen to her growing up.
Well, she didn't even get on the phone. He talked to the mother.
Yeah, just might have made this stuff up, hypnotized her into thinking this guy's got some wild manipulation tactics.
Oh, yeah.
His grip on people, man. Doing the human fun from home.
Yeah. And it seems that, everyone's seeing this, wow, what a difference he did on Izzy. And it's not like a red flag thing at all. People are like, well, I got problems.
He's turning people left and right. All the skeptics are like, ooh, now he's the whiz.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, one by one. And this is really cool when they show the map and they show the layout of the compound. And then Lawrence is in the room with Izzy. And then you start seeing people defect. More and more of these... there is some disbelievers within the house, but more and more the ratio, seems to be 5 points Larry and only 2 points Raven.
Yeah. And
Raven, this guy seems to right off the bat, like I didn't even really need context. I guess I already did know how this plays out.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, it's like
you already knew how this plays out.
Reverse Charles Manson. Yeah, I read the news, guy.
You saw this in the news?
No. But like, Charles Manson was trying to get them out of their house. But imagine Charles Manson was like, can I live with you guys? That would have been...
He did that. That's how he got in with the hippies and stuff like that. He just joined the cheapest commune.
Okay. So maybe this guy did have a little bit of a Charles Manson method. That's what I found. There's a Fat Joe song that he...
Didn't think he'd come up.
The intro is him talking about how to cook crack. Like he says the recipe and the ingredients you need and everything like that.
Right now.
This could be a very dangerous platform.
It doesn't tell you how to hypnotize, but it does make you realize how fragile the mind is.
And it gives you quite a few things, like some tactics. Mm-hmm. The tactics that this guy uses is insane by, every meaning of the word.
Yeah, I was actually reading Mike Rinder, this guy who was huge in Scientology, like one of the highest people in it. And a lot of the same weird tactics, like they have the hole in that. You ever hear of that? Like where even like the highest people up end up in this hole because of David Miscavige just digging in this hole and feeling like crap. And this is how they're treated. But also that's just like some of the charm.
Yeah. So you got to bring them in.
Because
then you got to break them a bit.
Yeah. They have to be broken down.
And then fix them the way that you want them to be molded.
Yeah, but he comes off like he's bigging them up. Like I think you mentioned earlier.
See, I feel like I know I can do this now.
Crazy how he's going on about empowering them and stuff. Until Milhouse falls to pieces there.
But it's so classic that, because then they start moving out to this apartment. And he starts...
2 by 2 heading into the...
Yeah, so there's...
1 bedroom.
I think it's just Izzy and then... Because of Claudia. I don't know if we mentioned Claudia yet. She's one of the people that go and live with Lawrence in this apartment. Yeah. And he starts working them like he's a Mendelbaum. 10 push-ups. Next day, 20 push-ups. Yeah, these guys are doing 400 push-ups in a sitting. Just using this guy's whole training pattern.
Mandelbaum.
No one thinks that they're better than Lawrence.
You think you're better than me? Jerk.
Yeah. You see a bit of the people like Raven and the people that are still back at the house are like, they haven't been around school or there's been no contact, but they're there having Christmas. Like they're really settling in. You can see that these guys are like really becoming a little family.
They're stacked too high in this 1 bedroom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lawrence and Izzy are stacked too high already.
Yeah. So Santos, who's already becoming...
Oh, and he's dating... A tidbit that we left out is that Santos is dating Lawrence's daughter.
Yeah, that's Tally.
Has been dating Talia the whole time.
Yeah.
So he's even more inclined to be like, this is his new daddy.
She's the biggest mystery in the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you expect to eventually hear a little bit about Talia.
Yeah.
Or some kind of input. That's like the biggest...
Episode 3, I thought she was going to come out.
Yeah.
And
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I was expecting so much more, and I was just like, there are so many questions that I still have because of the lack of Talia to the very end.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And you see that she's just going through life like normal. And just like...
Yeah.
I don't even think she moves to the one bedroom. She's just... Or she moves out of there pretty quick.
She does, but then Santos and her break up, and she leaves, and Santos stays.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
You think that they would play on that a bit more, like what happens, or at least have a little bit of a recording? Can we have a little bit of an argument between them?
Does Santos start to go downhill before the breakup? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with
Not that there's any order of operations.
You know, then he starts getting into Dan's ear.
Yeah.
And he picks this guy apart.
Yeah. Piece by fucking piece.
You know, he's obviously picking out these people's vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Breaking them down.
Spotting them.
Making him feel...
Sniffing them out.
And then making them feel like he can fix them.
Yeah.
And, you know... This guy's questioning his sexuality. He goes, "Oh, no, you're not gay. Like, you should watch this porn.
Yeah.
What you should do is shave your head and wear a
he was long hair rocker.
Yeah, colorful polo.
So he's a man.
Be a man.
Yeah.
And then what does he do? He sends Izzy out.
Yeah.
To, you know,
world's fastest seduction.
Yeah. And even the part, like, he's like, she's a hot piece of ass, isn't she? And he's like, yeah, I guess. Like, he didn't want to be rude. So he's like, oh, yeah. And even when, you know, she was out there with him in the dark, you know, he was just, didn't know how to take it.
Yeah. It was like the last... positive thing, like person, not, there's probably victims in all of that, but you know, like Dan got something, but it seemed like all downhill. Santos wasn't getting anything.
Yeah,
Santos just runs around breaking everything he can find.
Because Dan did have a girlfriend at the start.
Yeah.
But he was even questioning his sexuality then.
Yeah.
So this is
it was something... with one of the girls in the house, wasn't it?
Can't remember.
Yeah, I think there was another one as well. Near the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think she was a part of any further than that. But, you know, that's just one of the things. Like, every one of these... individuals have a thing that Lawrence picked out of them. And it was really weird how, like, he took Dan out for, like, this big, long talk. They were in, like, a coffee shop or a restaurant or whatever, and they were talking for, like, hours, and he's like, all right, come on. And then there's a limo, and he takes them out, and then all the people are in it, like, the whole gang.
Yeah.
Is, like, that would be, like, eerie to me. And these people were just sitting there for a fucking hour waiting.
Fuck it. It's the least amount of their life that they fucking flushed away the whole thing.
Yeah.
Way to pinpoint the best of times in this tale.
So you think just because they sleep in dressers that they like to sit in a parked limo for hours?
I thought 35,000 yen was a lot.
Yeah, these are practically free. Much like Charles Manson, he also used drugs, but...
Another great mentor-mentee relationship.
Adderall's the new acid.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They love doing Adderall. And cleaning. Some cliche Adderall stuff, right?
Yeah, I know. And it's weird, like... Was it that they all had their own things that they brought? Like, why was the place so goddamn messy? Like, was he just bringing stuff in for them to fix and build?
He was like a constant make work situation.
Yeah.
which is only exacerbated later on when they get that house place and he keeps digging up the damn yard.
I know. They do get a Spawn Ranch later on.
Yeah, over and over, just digging up the yard.
Yeah.
And Santos there the whole time.
By this time, you start seeing the recordings.
Do you see recordings?
Yeah. And it's people doing confessions and stuff.
Yeah.
And talk, like he's setting up the camera and making them talk.
He's holding people accountable.
Yeah. Saying that, that they broke stuff.
And in excess.
Claudia's the first one that gets it.
Yeah. Is Claudia the first one that gets it? Is she the one who, when she, with the poisoning? No, that's not then, is it?
Do they know that they're being recorded, or does this guy just have plant mics hidden everywhere?
Well, a lot of the recordings.
Because later on they have video recordings and all this stuff. Like, I'm wondering, this was evidence that they found. They just found a closet full of tapes.
If he's gonna be busted, it's dead to rights. Putting hammers on people.
But don't you think it's strange for this guy, to be doing all these illegal things that you could be charged for, but like keeping evidence of everything you do?
Yeah, keeping everybody accountable.
But you're keeping yourself accountable by recording all this stuff. Like, this was...
You saying he's not a hypocrite?
You don't think these guys would have had a field day when they're like, oh, well, of course he did it. Look at all the... there's no question.
Yeah.
He's got all these tapes.
It's in the future, baby. Ish.
And then, I don't remember why anyone would think that he's actually an abusive person. Like, he's obviously, there's some red flags for sure, but I don't think he's done anything abusive to any of these people thus far in episode 1. But then this email gets sent from Claudia to, like, the whole school.
Yeah. That's when
talking
things
about,
get super strange.
Talking about, Lawrence isn't an abusive person.
Yeah.
And, saying that she poisoned everyone in the school and she's sorry. And then there was an email sent.
Anyone tell you,
from Claudia to the whole school that was totally discounting Lawrence from any suspicion of any type of abuse and saying how great of a man he is.
Except no one was calling him abusive at that time.
Exactly. And she
preemptive measure.
She admitted to poisoning people at the school.
Yeah, that might have been someone specific. But poisoning happens a few times.
It's a ongoing theme, the mercury poisoning.
Yeah, it's something... It's weird to plant the idea that something is slowly killing you.
Yeah.
And somebody is doing it to you. And she needs to pay for doing it. Like, that's the start of her running tab.
Yeah.
Because if you do mercury poison someone... Like, the bills go up fast. Apparently.
Yeah. You get taxes. High taxes.
Yeah, interest rate is huge.
Yeah. And this is how episode 1 ends.
Yeah.
Then that was pretty good. Yes. That was pretty good.
So you're thinking...
I think I'll watch episode 2.
Yeah.
So you click on episode 2, and it goes to Lawrence's 40th birthday. And, these guys are having a good time. Probably a couple little kicks thrown here or there.
Yeah.
And everyone has great things to say about him.
Why wouldn't they?
And it's funny because they say, oh, he's a great father. and it shows him and Talia in a picture. He's wearing a bright colored polo and has a shaved head.
Yeah.
So he looks at this picture like, this is the ideal man.
Yeah.
See that girl? That's my daughter. And like, it's so weird that, another thing about the daughter, about Talia, it was never brought up of like, well, you're sleeping with my daughter, or like they didn't even touch on any of that kind of relationship that would be formed between Santos and him, you would think.
Yeah. The like father,
the father of your girlfriend,
yeah.
The father-in-law, like there wasn't any of that. And it's so strange because maybe, is Talia a mole?
It makes you
Was
think,
she
right?
just
Bigger part.
Place to go to this school?
Yeah, like was she just one of my like immediate rabbit hole ideas was that she was a plant. And it wasn't until later on where, it seemed like he was actually her biological father.
Yeah.
But,
thought it'd end up being like the husband, not the father.
Yeah, exactly. Like Elaine and that guy with the heart attack.
Yeah.
Weak pull.
Who put crackers in his mouth? You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah,
I actually love that line.
I thought there wasn't supposed to be any lessons on Seinfeld.
Yeah, if you went over more than 7 dates, you can't break up. You got to break up with them face to face, unless you haven't slept with them. All right, and just walks off.
Yeah.
And it's Yankee beans, I like the Yankee beans.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all fine and dandy. But then you have Santos throwing cement in the washing machine, getting excess of 75,000 in bills, smashing up the place.
Whoa. We're jumping the gun here. So after the party, his 40th birthday, you meet a man named Bernie Carrick. And Bernie Carrick, was a good friend. Pretty high up. I can't remember what he actually did. But he was good friends with Lawrence. And Lawrence got in trouble and comes to Carrick and was like, can you phone the FBI for me and tell them to get off my back? So, like, already there is some, this is preceding when he actually had to go do some time.
Yeah.
And then, he's saying...
Trumped up charges.
And then it jumps from meeting Carrick to meeting another gentleman that lent Lawrence's apartment when he got out of jail for a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think of all the shenanigans that happened when he was gone. People wearing his suits, pretending to stand up, yelling at people out the window, holding the door closed when they're trying to bust it in.
Yeah, it was a very parasitical sort of situation. So he just kept this guy's apartment. Was that the one that they were living in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one they took over. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They lived in there a long time.
So he was drifting on the couch at Sarah Lawrence.
The ultimate couch surfer.
But he was striking a deal on this apartment in the meantime.
Yeah.
He was probably saying, like, I'm living on this dorm here, man.
Mm-hmm.
I need this apartment. And it turned into the complete slum. Like, they ruined... No wonder stuff was getting so damaged.
Yeah.
It looked like an episode of Hoarders. But this Bernie Carrick guy plays a huge part in, the paranoia. You start seeing the psychotic side of Lawrence, not just in his master of manipulation, but you start seeing that, he's paranoid that this Bernie Carrick guy's after him. and he's the reason that he went to jail, and now, he's putting it on everyone else, and he's saying, your parents worked with Bernie.
Yeah.
And he's putting it in their head, and this is the first time that you actually see how he's manipulated their mind, is that they're sitting on the camera confessing, saying, Bernie called my parents, and they offered him this much money, and they're trying to kill you. So the same guy that he borrowed the apartment from, he must have came and saw, like, all the kids. And he's like, he started asking questions.
Would you think any of the wiser?
Me and you can only do so much, but we can build an army.
Yeah.
And that's what he was actually doing, is trying to build this brainwash, start the new SS or something like that.
I mean,
which is the same
good
thing.
On him.
Again, Charles Manson was trying to start an army.
Yeah.
It seems like it was all about love and drugs and peace, but it wasn't. He was trying to manipulate people into being an army, when the whole helter-skelter theory that he was obsessed with.
Yeah.
And this guy has an obsession too with this Bernie Carrig guy.
It seems like it would be good everyday skills to have. And one that it's almost like a superpower.
Yeah, like I don't understand why people with such psychotic illness actually are like psychological geniuses.
This guy looks like George.
They see life totally different, so that somehow makes them be able to alter someone's perspective that much easier. I don't know, it's very strange.
Yeah. But you see,
very interesting in a way.
Yeah. It's very similar to that breakdown you hear in Scientology, where they'll be going back and forth and they'll be just trying to get you to say more bad things that you've done. Yeah. And then it keeps going even further. You got to keep a lot of the same sort of techniques.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's green pastures for them.
Yeah.
After they get hooked on it,
yeah.
It's like a drug to them.
Yeah.
They're all over it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the fitness. Yeah. So he actually is doing this. He's releasing the dopamines in their brains. He's giving a little Adderall. He's doing all these things that they probably feel so good that they can't even see how wrong it is, because they just feel so much better than they did before all this. And that's the only reason why I think they would stay.
Got jacked for a little bit.
Because this is when Talia actually moves out.
Yeah.
So she's gone.
Back to school. Mm-hmm.
And then she moves back to the dorm, and then you just lose sight of her. Like, there's nothing about... You think that Raven would talk about seeing her in the dorm.
Yeah.
I guess you see her at prom later.
Yeah. She just graduates normal, happy.
She's hanging out with them still, obviously.
Yeah.
Because they were at prom together.
But she's totally brainwashed, too, because the only thing that you really find out is she's like, my dad's the greatest at the beginning.
But a plant would say that.
Yeah. A biological plant. A clone.
Yeah, started as a seed.
But
most plants start out as seeds, am I right?
He's got his core bunch there. Only a couple got away. The odds, there must have been a few other duds in there for him that he couldn't quite turn. But it's so weird, like what a...
But yeah, because it seems like it was just every person he went after.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he spent too much time with Ben or Raven.
Yeah, I know.
So this is when you see... So Talia moves out. What were you going to say?
Just that it's so annoying that you got two skeptical people and they can't break the spell.
Yeah.
They can't, as hard as logic tries.
Yeah.
And even, trying to communicate them. after like the story came out with Claudia, Ben
Mm.
is, like, are you okay? Whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, this is the most.
Because she also called him after the email came out.
Oh yeah, to reassure him.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
everything is fine.
And I'm wondering,
And
like,
don't worry.
so she's on the phone. Is he standing, like, right there? He's saying, you got to call this guy and say this, and I'm going to listen. Make sure you say it.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead and tell him.
Right after Talia...
I'm not telling you what to say, am I?
Right after Talia moves out is when Claudia is doing a confession saying that her parents know Bernie Carrick.
Yeah.
And then this cuts to Santos's sister's in town, and Lawrence is a hero.
Yeah.
Looks like a great guy in front of her. They fall in love almost instantly.
And this is one of the biggest conquests that this guy could have ever had.
Yeah.
He flips her pretty fast, and she's like, was it a Harvard medical school?
Yeah.
Like,
in psychology.
Yeah. Like,
she's going to be a psychologist.
One of the smartest people you could imagine.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, he's so deep. We have such great conversations. Don't mind that he looks like George.
But very quickly, he...
Got that Michael Chiklis handsome to him.
And over the phone, because she was just like there for a weekend and going back to L.A.
Get the
and then
hooks
over
in.
the phone made her think that people were down there trying to kill her, and he's in Santos's ear too. We got to get her. We got to get her here. She's frantic. She gets on a plane by herself. She comes here. She thinks people are after her. He brings her to the apartment. He's like, all right, let's talk about this. Just sit there and tell me how you... Oh, whoa. All right, so what's going on? And like she's bawling her eyes out, but he's there taping her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if these are hidden cameras, and he's like, just sit right here. And then you get, like, it's just so strange.
It is a good question because it doesn't really explain where this footage came from.
Oh, and he talks to them quite funny too. I just wanted to add, he calls Santos a bitch a couple times.
Little moop.
But when he's talking to Claudia during the initial recording there, the initial confession, he's like, so did you do anything else today, spiteful?
Yeah, he's a real good Samaritan.
Quite the scofflaw, this guy.
Really dissecting their boss codes. Yeah.
Really passing on his paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like a really strange thing that you wouldn't think that this guy... it's amazing how he put this into their brains, this Bernie Carrick guy.
Yeah.
This Bernie Carrick guy's going to kill you. He's after us. And your parents. He works with your parents.
Yeah.
And like, how can you make people believe this?
And you dented my ride.
Yeah. You owe me so much money. Because then the parents get involved. And the parents say...
What's that, a Forval? I did you a favor.
They had to go to friends. They had to go to friends out of country. They had to sell their house, sell their car.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Santos's parents... And, there's 3 kids. Because the other sister's there, too.
Yeah.
Said that they gave over $300,000 to this guy. And also what I noticed about this was that they had pictures of their kids with candles around them.
Yeah, as if they were...
Which is like not... Yeah, they're not dead, but they're gone forever.
Yeah.
They're now...
Hopeless.
They're now forever just in your memory.
Mm-hmm. They're not the people that I know anymore.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Dan's parents. And this is like, I think, maybe how Lawrence got Dan. And maybe I'm overthinking. But the father is reading this email that he sent to Dan. And it's like, I just hope you're making good decisions. And he says, one day, I'm just trying to, okay, so, and then I think this might be a little bit of Dan's issue. I might be overthinking this a bit, but what I took from this scene where you meet Dan's father, he's reading an email that he wrote, and he's going on about, I'm just trying to protect my son. I hope you're making good decisions. I'm only looking out for you. One day you'll understand.
Yeah.
I just want you to be a good man.
Mm-hmm.
And, two things I saw from that is I want you to understand, implying that, I want you to have kids one day of your own, or you will have kids one day of your own, and you'll be a good man, which a male who's questioning his sexuality.
Oh, you think it's like hammering it home and like...
Yeah, maybe that's why he was so uncomfortable and so in question of his sexuality, is because, he didn't feel like his father would have been very open to it. Mm. So he was kind of worried. That's why he's bringing Elaine to the opera. She's a beard.
See if they can switch sides.
Yeah, seeing if he's trying to go to the other team maybe. But because then even the dad, at the end of it, goes, "Good email." So that's what I first heard him say, "Good email." I was like, that's kind of strange. Like this is a letter that you wrote to your son trying to get him back. The other parents are giving away their whole life to get the kids back. And you just got this email and you're like, yeah, good email. I wrote a good email. Good on me. And then he looks at his wife, and his wife's like, yeah, good email.
Yeah, a little pat on your back. Yeah. Not a bad bit of prose there.
So
is it?
Izzy's mom, might have been a little bit of a rough childhood. Santos's parents seemed like, they would have gave anything for their kids.
Picturesque.
So now I'm getting, a little bit of vibes from Dan's family. Maybe, reasoning why he would be led astray so easily.
Yeah.
Because...
But you can't base it on that, because you got the Harvard one too, no problem.
And this is his magnum opus. Yeah. Magnus opus.
God,
what is it? What is it?
Magnum opus.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So this is like his magnum opus, Harley Quinn to his Joker.
A bit of that going on.
Even though he already has a bird of prey in Izzy.
Yeah.
But she quickly moves in.
How do you mean?
Yeah. Not only moves in, but moves into his and Izzy's room.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. Become sister wives.
Yeah. As it turns out, their sleeping arrangement is pretty... the way it's explained to her is... Izzy just feels better holding his junk while he sleeps. Yeah. So, don't even sweat it.
Yeah.
So just go with the flow, baby.
Yeah, no. She gets stuck with the thigh or chest.
Some other part of the anatomy.
And this is where stuff starts getting real abusive. You see Dan actually getting... some body shots, again, just like a Mendelbaum would do.
Big time.
And pulls out a wrench and gives him a little turkey twist.
Yeah. It's very mean-spirited.
And, he had that dark night. I think it was the same night that he went and climbed up to the top of a water tower.
Just laid there.
And, assumed that he was thinking that he might take his life.
Yeah. He was at the point, he was teetering right on the edge, basically, the way he explained it.
Yeah.
One false move and he could have just fell off of this thing.
Yeah. Almost like that, leaning over the cliff and letting the wind decide. I think he was kind of leaving his fate up to something higher.
Yeah. But then he just walks away after that, makes a break for it.
And then Santos, in his interview, says, I remember thinking, I wish I could leave. And that is the power of this mind control, is that they actually can't, they don't think they have the power to just walk away.
And he stays so much longer.
Yeah. And
you think that he's gonna leave, but then he's there for feels like ages.
It's not like Lawrence is like, we got to go get Dan back.
Yeah.
Or Talia can't go back to the dorm.
Yeah.
He's just like, all right, see you later. Yeah. I still got these guys, my core group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got almost the full Family Feud package of the Santos family.
Yeah. Big old group of them.
Claudia is still kicking.
Yeah.
Who, really interesting, a tidbit that we forgot about is that how this all kind of started was that he claimed that Claudia was schizophrenic. I can cure schizophrenia. And, he used that into thinking, Claudia thinks that she is cured. The way that he has distorted her perception is, in her mind, the cure that she was looking for. And I think that this goes on for every character in some extent. Keep calling them characters.
Yeah, but her trajectory really doesn't speak to that so much.
Yeah. No, but she's not cured. But she thinks that she is. In some form or fashion. Like, obviously these people, feel more comfortable with this guy than not.
Yeah.
This is their sane and their skewed perception.
Suppose so.
Yeah. And after Dan leaves, it cuts to graduation time. And this was another cool editing, because they did have 2 cameras going, so they cut it. These friends wouldn't all walk one after each. It's always alphabetical. They wouldn't just go in order.
Right.
But it was edited pretty seamlessly to make it look like they were walking the stage one after another. Then it goes to prom. And you see that, because you're hearing it from Raven, that she ran into them at prom. And Talia was hanging out with them, because there's a picture of her, Claudia, and Izzy. And, what's crazy is that you'd think that this would be like a drug thing. So you'd think that they'd look strung out and all this. But, I guess they're done up for prom. But they look healthy. They look... one could debate that these people are being manipulated or in any kind of harm just because they didn't look like they were in harm. They didn't have bruises. They didn't look unhealthy or like they're not eating or anything. This guy was obviously, giving them everything they need. Very institutionalized. When you're in jail, you got to follow all these rules.
Yeah.
But you're going to get fed 3 meals a day. A lot of people don't eat 3 meals a day until they go to jail.
True enough.
And similar with military. And I think, he's going for more of a military approach than a prison. But
yeah, very disciplined.
Yeah. And
but then also everything still is a fucking shit show there with garbage everywhere, despite this work ethic.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing.
And it's around this time that it's brought up that when there is a custody battle over Talia with the mother, that he had to do a psych evaluation.
Yeah, said this guy was unpsychable.
Yeah, like you couldn't even have a conversation with him without him having the perfect way of manipulating it into
Yeah.
his benefit. It was quite shocking, and I'm sure this would be the same if there was like a Hitler had a. Imagine if Hitler had a analysis done.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have been able to try to manipulate a couple things as well.
Yeah. I don't know if Hitler was as psychological. He saw like a real opportunity to turn people against one another, I think. But he might have been more opportunistic.
Yeah.
But I guess you can argue that Larry was as well.
Trying to start he said he was trying to start an army.
Yeah. Like Larry is.
I'm just
trying to
think
give
of, like,
him more
Charles.
benefit of the doubt
Yeah,
than
no.
Hitler.
What, do you like this guy?
Well, where did they learn these skills?
Well,
The power of persuasion and
how many people can you compare this guy to? Like I've already said, Charles Manson.
yeah.
Maybe Hitler's a stretch. Maybe it's not.
But is it like the Zen of basketball? There's like one thing you can check out, and it gives you the skinny on how to do all this stuff.
I don't know.
It's like a Darren Brown trick. You ever see him?
No.
Man, this guy is a magician in the UK. And he had this like truth or trick or treat is what it was called. So you would have these random people and it would be like trick or treat. If it was trick, then he would kind of like set up a prank almost. Or if it was treat, it would be a treat. And there was a bunch of different episodes. So there was ones for both things. But then there was also he would basically show how to get somebody to the point where he knew what they were going to say.
Yeah.
And one was actually a BMX bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
full circle.
Yeah. So basically, it's been a while since I saw it, but it was like took place in a boardroom or in a weird location where there was a thing like where you could like reference bikes. You could like throw like B's in there, M's, X's, like almost on a subconscious level to them.
Yeah.
And to the point where they say this thing and it's almost set up like a present, like what do you want as a present?
Yeah.
And gets this out of them. And they don't even know like really where it came from. There was so much leading.
Yeah. Well.
And actually goes back and explains it all in the thing, how he did it.
Yeah, it's baffling, honestly, the way that someone can manipulate someone's mind like that. Mm-hmm. And like, it's a constant thing that you see the whole time is that, the people that are trying to save you are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, he cannot stress enough, your parents are evil, your friends are evil. Like, I am the only person that can give you any positivity. Or the only person you can benefit from.
And I was just thinking about this trick or treat thing because I didn't really give any examples. Mm-hmm. But one of the tricks, he actually made somebody a bank robber. I'm pretty sure it was a bank robber. It was a robbery of something.
Yeah.
But he like grooms them basically into doing this.
Yeah.
And it almost looks like no work on his part, but it's like so many subtle things. And then like one of the treats was like making somebody like impossibly lucky. I even think he might have set up like to win the lottery in it. Very Truman Show-esque.
Oh, yeah.
You have to check
That's
that out, everybody.
That's a whole other level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be your dessert after this main course. And then, you start seeing more of Lawrence's psychotic tendencies where, he starts saying that they're poisoning him now.
Yeah.
And,
That's just for funds.
Is it just him manipulating them, or is it him slipping into his own psychosis and getting worse?
He's manipulating them 100%.
Yeah.
Because he uses Claudia, which he probably doesn't really look at like relationship material. Yeah. She's like in the friend zone really with them. Yeah. So he's free to pimp her out. But, it's of her own volition.
Yeah.
Because she's been poisoning him. So she owes him a great debt for the poisoning.
Yeah.
So she's out there making north of $1 million.
Yeah. Well, that's the money, I'm sure she's keeping a bit of money. That's just the money that she's given him.
Yeah, but to me it almost seems like she's living in squalor.
Yeah.
And just like everything is just so indebted.
Yeah.
That every penny is going towards this. I mean, I could be a little bit wrong. Like, she might not be that bad off, but what a hustle to, be generating that kind of thing.
It seems like he moved her out to New York, and she probably doesn't leave the apartment. She just stays there and collects. Yeah. Doesn't have any life.
No.
Of her, it's just working.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect segue, because that's how episode 2 ends. Is with Santos leaving as well, but leaving his sisters behind, which I found that so hard to watch.
He would get so juvenile.
Yeah. Well, there was one part. So, yeah.
You say anything.
Was it episode 3 or episode 2 where you see that he's punching himself in the face?
It's got to be in episode 2, where just if she says anything, his sister, he punches himself in the face.
And this is when, these people are nuts.
Yeah.
You really see that they just are not all right. And her face is already...
She's so stressed swollen.
out. She's been beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
And, to be able to watch this happen to your own flesh and blood, and Santos, not doing anything, so beaten down that he could watch this happen... And, he's punching himself in the face. Yeah. And, it's almost like watching the underbelly. Almost. It's just... that was, the hardest part for me to watch. Was just that whole scene of, these people have known each other their whole lives.
Yeah.
And he completely destroyed not only them individually, but, their relationship. Look what it has been reduced to.
It's pretty malicious.
Yeah.
And it feels like...
He's not pulling punches.
Almost the whole time, other than when Santos got shredded, apparently, at one point. But, it's all been just punching down at Santos. So the whole time, he's a punching bag. And... I'm jesting a little bit.
I'm guessing that's why you gave him the Milhouse Award of the night.
Well, that's the thing. You wish that there was more to how he was. And I do feel bad kind of making fun of him.
Hoping that he has a redemption story. Does this guy kill Lawrence?
You know what? I think he deserved to.
Oh, yeah.
He should have had a redemption. It was more of a limping out.
Yeah.
And still, he had everything.
Tail tucked.
Tail tucked. Indeed.
And then episode 2 ends up with people finding the website of Claudia.
Mm-hmm. Just emaciated.
Yeah. Yeah, like from prom, like she looked, I guess she might have just been, caked up and faked up for prom or something like that, but she almost looked like a totally different person when you saw the pictures of her on the website.
Yeah. And, things are just going normal for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 3 almost takes like a huge turn in pace.
Yeah, that 2/3 shift on this one.
Because now it's just down to... Because the other sister left too.
Yeah.
So it's just Izzy and... I wish it's Felicia.
Yeah.
And...
Felicia.
Lawrence gets arrested. It starts with the arrest of Lawrence.
And you're so excited
to
be in basically the present day. You're primed for resolution here.
Yeah. They get moved into their house. And this is what I was talking about earlier, is that it seemed like it was set up like this is going to be a document or a reality show now. Is watching these two girls, life after Lawrence.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Instead, they're like when a bee or when a queen bee dies, and the other bees lose the scent. They just fly off into a direction forever and die.
Yeah, they're still under the spell.
Yeah.
Even without Lawrence there, they're what seems to be permanently fucked.
Yeah, and it's something they wear on their face.
Yeah.
Like you can see the glaze in their eyes.
Yeah.
Of looking the other way.
Yeah. And not so much Felicia.
Yeah.
You see a little bit of hope in her, but Izzy just seems gone. And, she's even talking about how, I trust Lawrence with everything.
Yeah.
In every stretch of the word. Sexually, physically, mentally. It's just like her whole being is revolved around Lawrence.
Yeah, the sunken gains. When people put so much into something to stop course, like with a scam, people putting money into it, just can't stop themselves. The sunken loss of it all.
Yeah.
Plus so much culpability. Because that's one of the biggest weird things in it is like the conscience ethics of, and none of these people kicked in because there's crime taking place, like illegal scenarios occurring.
Oh, yeah.
So it would seem.
Oh, yeah. What a upsetting shot seeing Santos's parents are like knocking on the window. I'm like, Felicia, are you in there? Like, obviously the producers let the parents know where they were staying, and they actually went there trying to see them, because still after all this, they haven't seen Santos.
Yeah.
They haven't seen the other sister.
Yeah. And is that where he's like, I can see them? My parents are right there?
Later on. Yeah, it's getting to that.
Okay.
But there's like, Felicia seems to be the fortunate one, just because she does have a bigger family. There's more people to draw her
Hypnotize.
back. No, just draw her back into reality, where there didn't seem to be any like real happy ending for, like, Izzy didn't get back with her mom, I don't think.
Well,
where
maybe
Felicia and Santos and everyone actually does get back with the family.
Mm-hmm.
And finally you see the pictures of the kids without candles.
Yeah. And it is a hard swing. Like the one sister, they're like tied up in litigation and they're outside the door and they can't get in. And it's, it's relatively heartbreaking that, that's when Felicia's spell is broken. But kind of skipped over the whole part where it takes her a long time to go back to the family as well. Like, the spell's got to be broken for quite a while before she's ready to talk to,
It didn't.
someone who associated so closely with Bernie.
Yeah, it was hard to tell. It was hard to tell exactly how long episode 3 went on before she met back with her family. Did they do a full season of Life Without Larry? All that practice that they had in front of the camera with Lawrence, they seemed pretty friendly when it came to the camera crew being around their house. You think they still shared a bed? Put some pillows in between them? Had some fake junk for Izzy to hold? Or you think they were like, that's one thing that they liked about this house, is that they got their own bed?
I don't know. They just friggin' buzz around. They're like
Don't sleep
in
much?
a real holding pattern.
Yeah. Got a dog? I'm making that up.
Huh?
I thought they had a dog, maybe.
I don't think they...
Yeah, that 3-way turned into a 2-way.
Yeah, I don't know if they would have
Not that
stayed
there's anything
sleeping.
wrong with that.
I don't know if they would have stayed sleeping together. They were pretty close for the camera. They probably had instructions to like stay close to each other. It's such a delicate thing. They mentioned in some of the that Izzy almost broke spell a few times and had to be drawn back in, and
well, yeah, this is also when,
or he probably had to just like kind of re-up.
These are probably the 2 strongest out of the bunch. Definitely Felicia. With all her education, you would think that she'd be able to withstand some of this.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter when it comes to these psychological things, because it's just certain people are susceptible.
And, something that they really hit home with with Izzy is talking about her childhood and how when she was like 9, she made her own cake, her own decorations, her own invitations, like was super independent from a very young age. And everyone talked about, I think it was Raven that brought it up, that she had the strongest sense of morals out of anyone in the friend group.
And then she's at the point where if she says she's not brainwashed, she's fucked too.
Yeah. And then you find out that, the crimes get worse.
Yeah.
And there's... Izzy is actually on house arrest, has to have the bracelet on, and might have to do prison time because, once again, Lawrence records everything, and they had a recording of them going to wherever Claudia was staying and putting a bag over her head and tying her up and extorting her for more money. She obviously, maybe the spell was weakening a little bit on her end, or there was something that they had to go, shake her up a little bit.
I'm surprised more plates didn't stop spinning for him.
Yeah.
Along the way. But he was just good at staying on top of it and holding everybody accountable to his thing. There had to be a reason for all of this, right?
Yeah.
To be manipulating all these people. I thought it was... I don't know if you ever saw The Dead Zone. Basically, a Stephen King thing where a guy wakes up from a coma and he decides he has to kill the president, basically. Or a Manchurian candidate.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was all, this army was to, bring down this Bernie somehow, or that they were going to assassinate him, or that there was like an overarching goal. But they spent all the time excavating the backyard. And,
Well, I'm sure he's building some kind of bunker or something like that.
but he didn't add a great amount of numbers. We topped out at like 6 or 7 or...
If he doesn't say the plan, I don't know.
But he's got them all in the friggin' Bizarro world with they're all bringing up like a bunch of goofballs, bringing up this who knows what the fuck guy.
Bunch of hipster doofuses.
You know what I mean? Like, almost laughed when they would say, and Bernie got to everyone.
Yeah, it's all Bernie's fault.
It's like, Bernie doesn't know these people.
Yeah. He hangs out with the FBI.
Yeah.
He goes golfing with the head of the FBI.
Yeah. But it turns out that, there was some fluff to those pictures and stuff and taken out of context. So, it's relieving to know that but then he still has the superpower. So it's not like, you can't lie about having the superpower if you're doing it to people.
Yeah, it wasn't like an overly redeeming or justifying ending. Like, it was nice to see.
And I'm not trying to glorify it either. I'm just astounded that somebody was able to.
There was a couple times in this podcast where I was like, this could be taken out of context. I'm not saying I'm not like you said, glorifying or pointing out some when I say like it's amazing and baffling, I'm saying like I cannot believe that someone got away with all this stuff.
Whenever I see something like this, I find it so important to tell people because there might be people in their lives that are susceptible to things, and they gotta understand the red flags as well. I find watching something like this helps build that skepticism in you, hopefully.
Like Lawrence's face should be in the... I don't use this... So, I don't use this very often. But Lawrence's face should be under the term gaslighting in the dictionary.
It's unreal. Yeah.
Like...
He does it like
because gaslighting seemed to be is on the uprise, like talking about gaslighting and stuff like that. This is
persistence.
But this is the most major example of, if anyone is unclear on what gaslighting is, you should watch this. And just to know that this could happen in your backyard. Like this, this was 26 minutes away from the coffee shop that this took place.
Right. Oh, well, what about with traffic?
Traffic just stopped. Well, traffic just lightened up. They changed it from 26 to 23.
Yeah. Bronxville is not like the Bronx. It's like a more closer to a suburbia.
All right, Mr. Manhattan. How would you show me your blue dick?
When you fucking end up in the East River.
What? Swimming? You never swam? It's great for your back. You should try it sometime.
Yeah. There's lots of people out there.
You'd probably sink like a rock, like that old man.
There's people floating out there.
Too many people. Sometimes it gets crowded. I'm out there on my boogie board and I gotta watch out for backstrokers.
But you bring the smell of the beach home with you.
Smells like my cologne. I don't even gotta go to the beach anymore. Thanks to Ralph Lauren.
Gonna have to replace my coffee table.
Here's to feeling good all the time.
Izzy's spell never gets broken.
Yeah, there's some really...
It might be broken now.
No, she, in the credits, it said that she just completely stopped talking to the production team. Like, at one point, she was just like, okay, and I want nothing more to do with this.
Yeah, but where's she at today?
I'm
going to look it up.
Yeah.
This is, let's get as current as possible. Alright, so where are we at? We got February 22nd. That's only like a month ago.
What, you got her on the gram?
No, there is a thing. So she pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering, avoiding a trial.
It said that in the documentary, I think.
Yeah, but this was only a month ago. The documentary came out a few months ago, I think. Ray sentenced to 60 years in prison till he figures that out. She's gonna face like up to 5 years. However, she could face none because she was brainwashed.
My question is, where the hell is Talia?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to run another Goog here. Oh, look. She said, I'm truly ashamed of my conduct and pain I caused others. She said that she knows she committed serious crimes and is fully accepting responsibility for her actions. Lawrence's hold over me changed who I was, and it continues to be a healing process.
Talia Ray. You think she changed her name? You think she's in the witness protection, or you think she's got a whole nother cult?
Kind of last name is Ray anyhow.
I think there's going to be a part 2.
Okay, so there's just a little while ago. Gotta get to the bottom of this article. Here we go. So after Dad was indicted, there was talk of indicting her as a co-conspirator, though that never came to fruition. Kept out of the public eye since the horrors of her father's actions, and Twitter account thought to be hers remains locked, with a bio that reads, Ava, I love you and miss you every day. XOXO, always your big sister. Dun dun dun.
Part 2. Talia's Revenge. Oh my god, this guy's like Raja Ghul. I never even thought about that.
Hasn't been on Facebook since August of 2020. She was a paralegal in North Carolina at one point.
Yeah, until this documentary came out. Now she's got no job.
Yeah.
No prospects. No reason to even wake up in the morning. Except for she likes the news.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. She remains a mystery.
Alright, I think I'm past my expiration.
Yeah. So anyway, check out this doc, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Check out some Darren Brown.
Yeah.
Mike Rinder's book is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Or any of the Scientology books, actually. But yeah, you see a lot of commonalities in between all this kind of stuff. I'll unlock the key to true manipulation here shortly, and just watch as Liam becomes like a mannequin, and Phyllis becomes like a Liam.
Don't practice your Spotify captions here, buddy. All right, to the cult of Phyllis out there, stay stacked.
Yeah. And may spells be
time.
broken. Spells broken.